spaces, which we had on the list. I don't know if there was anything else you guys wanted to add to any of those topics.
No.
But I think another like really big thing was hypocrisy. So I don't know if anybody wants to.
I just want to, in that vein, I just wanted to know, with Pastor Razor being here, maybe somebody can type in the chat box regarding hypocrisy. What is truly the expectation for a church? Is there a biblical definition or standard? Because we live in an imperfect world, right? So do we expect the church to be perfect? What is the Bible? How are we supposed to be set up? And I think that's with anything. You got to know what you're supposed to be doing, how you're supposed to be doing it. And then you won't have as many problems, as many broken and hurt people. A lot of people just set up churches because, you know, they got the money and this is what they feel like they're supposed to do. But what's the blueprint? How are ministries supposed to operate? And then I think we can prevent a lot of these people from falling by the wayside because God already created the blueprint. And if we follow that, I think we'll be successful and we will prevent this hypocrisy and this being judgmental. And I don't know the answer. I'm not a preacher, minister, nothing. I'm just a parishioner. But I come from, you know, what I think was a good body of people. We've had what you talked about, but we just weathered through it. And I have nothing but great things to say because I knew people are imperfect. That wasn't my expectation, let me say that. But I know everybody is different. Somebody may be looking for a perfect church or a 5-star church. Is that a realistic expectation?
Right. Yeah, I think when it comes to hypocrisy, I think it's like, don't shame me when you're not as clean, right? There's a way you can address and correct a person without making them feel shameful about their choice, right? There's one thing, like if I come and I say, I'm an alcoholic, right? I'm like, oh my God, you need to get your life together. Don't do that, right? Maybe share your experience and how you came about it. Offer some suggestions on how we can work through this, right? Don't shun me, don't not talk about, don't not invite me to things, and you know what I mean? That's you're making me add more guilt, more shame. I'm here because I'm trying to figure it out, right? So I think it's more so it's not the standard of we expect people in church to be perfect, but it's just like, I do expect you to share your burdens. If we're talking, right? I think most people learn and grow a little bit faster when you share your experiences and you all can connect on a deeper level, right? You allow a person to open up more, right? And I think like sometimes in my experiences and people that I've talked with is that people, once they grow, they want to forget about where they came from. You know what I mean? And they don't want you to bring light on that, right? So they're up here now. I'm elevated. That ain't my life. Like, don't do that to me. Like, I want to get there too. Like, help me get there, right? And I think that's where it comes from. And then it's just like, when you do have people who plunder in the church, don't hide it. It's okay. If this is supposed to be a safe space, we should all be able to share in each other's, because what you messed up on may be able to help somebody else. But if you don't want nobody to know about it, and you don't want nobody, and you trying to hide it because you ashamed because you know what you just did to Sister Allie, now you expect them to do it to you, and so you want to hide that.
So how do we? Go ahead. Go.
You talked about expectations.
Yeah.
Do we feel like the church is setting too high of expectations to people?
I think they're not clear.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's
So
what I'm getting to.
that's what
Yeah.
I don't think, like, we were required to go to new membership class when I grew up in church, okay? You however many weeks or months or whatever it was, you had to go. You knew what was required to be a member of that church and what the church was going to give you in response. Now, I don't know if they still do that, but that creates clarity. Because if somebody in my family died and nobody from my church come and y'all told me during new membership class you was gonna support me, I know to hold you accountable.
Exactly.
Because you promised me this. So I think that's key. I know when we take jobs, you get a job description, roles, responsibilities, and duties. You know what you're supposed to come to work and do. And when you don't do it, you can be held accountable. So I think it's important that people know, what is my church supposed to do for me? And what am I supposed to do for my church? Because God tells us what he wants from us. His directions are in the Bible. They're crystal clear, right? But I don't know if it's so clear in the church. I don't know if people know what church is for. Some people don't think it's important. They think they can stay at home. So I think that's the concern, the challenge that pastors and administrators of churches and people need to clearly understand what your purpose is, your vision, your mission, what you're going to do, and what you expect them to do. Because when you hear Sister Allie talking about Sister Karen, who do we go to?
Mm-hmm. And like, so there was an example, something that I just kind of, at the church I was attending at the time. So we had a associate pastor and his wife. They had some marital issues, some infidelity issues, right? And they made him step down. Now, me as a parishioner, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I wasn't sure how I felt about that, right? Their marriage, their business, however they need to work that out, right? Now, I am okay with them, you know, if the church says, okay, hey, you all need to go to marriage counseling, this, that, and the other. Now, if he disagreed to do that, okay, then I understand the demotion. But to immediately demote him, I wasn't sure if I understood what the purpose in that was.
Because he has to be held accountable. You can't be a bad example and stand in front and tell people how they should be or things they shouldn't do, what you're doing.
So, but see, my issue with that is this. That's that level of expectation of being perfect. You see what I'm saying? Because he's not Christ. They're going to make mistakes. And my thing is, just because, okay, he admitted his flaws, because we sin every day. Ain't nobody here without sin. So what determines your demotion?
But see, I don't know now. I know with our church, the people that are ministers, and they know that is rules for demotion. So I don't know
Right, that's what I said.
if
I
they
get it. I
agree.
get it.
And if you agree to that, I gotta hold you accountable.
No. I get
You
that
know?
part. That's what I said. I get that there's a rule. There are rules,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, to me, the rule didn't necessarily make sense. And the reason for that being is because, like I said, if there were like some, like I said, like go to counseling, like some things for you to work through it, right? To show people, like, okay, yes, he made a mistake, right? Because he is still human. He is not Jesus Christ himself. So therefore, he is going to make mistakes, whatever those mistakes are, and allow him to work himself back, right? Go to counseling. If him and his wife are doing the work. Now, again, if they said, nope, we're not going to counseling, we not doing this, we not doing that, okay, you're not even trying to help. You're not even trying to become better, right? And so my thing is, and that's that level of, I expect the clergyman to be perfect, and this is why it teaches people to hide their mistakes, because you're going to be punished and ashamed and looked at a certain way, and things are going to be taken away from you. You can still be held accountable without being, in my opinion, shamed in front of the church. Let me show you what making a mistake and growing and working through looks like. That's what that looks like to me, because again, when I saw that, I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna keep my mistakes to myself.
And he 9 times out of 10, he probably would, him and the pastor or whoever had a discussion, and he knew, and you know you have to, it's not being perfect. When you called, you know it's certain things you shouldn't do. I can't tell, like our pastor say all the time, he wouldn't take financial advice from MC Hammer because you know better. Certain things you just don't do. I can't be a youth leader. I can't be an unwed youth leader, and I'm going to speak, and come in here 8 months pregnant, and all the kids looking at me, because guess what? They're going to say, oh, Denise did it, so I can do it. Lead by example. That's all it means.
So whom
And
much
his
is
pastor-
given, much is required.
That's it.
No,
and the
but
pastor probably told him, go get counseling. See what you can do. I'll counsel you, and then you can come back. But to
And that's
leave him there in front would be a bad example.
See,
and
and-
nobody's looking for perfection, huh? It's just a matter of certain things we just don't. And that's like life. It's certain things you just won't do.
What and see, and that's to me, and like I said, like, until you are in those particular circumstances, until you have been beaten or in a situation, you can't say what you can and what you won't do. Again, I am not Christ. So there were probably several circumstances or situations that allowed him to be vulnerable enough to fall victim, right? And maybe, just maybe, He needed help way before then, but guess where he didn't feel comfortable going to help get help for that? The church.
You said that the church don't have to be 5-star, but I feel like the pastor do, because when I came to this church, I was sitting on the porch every Wednesday night. This is my niece. She went to church. I said, "Niece, ask Ray so and so and so." She said, "You come ask him. Say he'll tell you anything you want to know." So I started coming to church and I asked Ray questions. He'll tell me questions and then tell me where to find that in the Bible.
Yeah, he's
now
very
that's
smart.
a pastor in my book. That is
I
a
agree.
pastor.
Yeah.
So ever since then I've been, in love with this church because everybody in this church is friendly.
Yeah.
And I never been where I didn't go to church, even when I got married. Only reason I didn't go to church because I was working on Sunday. Well, my husband, I guess he got tired of me catching the bus. He started coming to church with me.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I got my husband to come to church with me. But I'm in a senior building, and they had a dinner in the senior building, and I was late getting there. And I heard everybody talking about, "She'll be here in a minute, she'll be here in a minute." So when I got in there, they said, "Here she come, here she is, she gonna say the grace." I'm like, "Y'all can't say the grace unless I come here?" They said, "We want to hear you say it." And I'm saying like, so every Wednesday and Friday we have breakfast. And by building manager, she'll say, "T, you can say the grace." I said, "Diana gonna say it today." She said, "I want to hear you say it." I'm like, "I can't say, I got to say grace." She said, "You say it better than she do, so you say it." So now, every Wednesday and Friday, I have to say the grace. When they have dinner at church, down in the building, I got to say the grace. Every time they have something, they calling on me to say the grace.
She had a question.
I told this nice gentleman that I was just gonna keep talking to him instead of talking to y'all. But I'm gonna say this and get up out of here. As far as what me personally, because I think I'm kind of like a line right here, like I have a relationship versus religion, and what I would just expect from the church is just whatever you're holding me accountable for, whatever light you want me to walk in that with me.
Yeah. Talk about it.
Give me that same grace. And I also want us to give the grace to these children because they not walking in the same times I walked in. And I'm 30. But when I was in high school, they dealing with a whole lot of different heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not the same. You can't give that same message that you were given. You can't deliver it the same way. You can't have those same expectations from these kids. They're burying more of their friends than I have in a lifetime, loved ones.
Yeah.
And it's like, we can't keep talking to them and we can't keep, when I was a kid and when I was in church, it went like this, we ain't there no more. Everything around us is evolving and structured around Gen Z and the youth. The church needs to too. So in my opinion, I was just telling Jasmine that it was Jennifer, that it was kind of crazy that I ended up here because you guys had a back to school drive here thing here last August, yeah, right? And it was my oldest baby is 9. And so we were out there and she was just playing, and it was something that I hadn't seen in a while, and that didn't even affect me to how different times are because I'm not even used to seeing these kids playing. These kids can't even play the same. So if they can't play the same, they can't go to school the same, they can't live the same, they can't be shamed the same because where it was a time is that joke that was said, it only hit family ears, now it's hitting social media, now it's viral, now it's everywhere. So if they can't do none of this stuff the same, how can they church the same? My baby was like, "Wait, are we at a church?" And I was like, "Yeah, baby, how you know?" She was just having a biblical conversation with another child her age. And she was coming back telling me things. And I came here because it said it was a back to school drive. So now my baby on the way home telling me the word, and I got to listen from a 9-year-old and look up online what she even talking about. And dang on it, she was right. But anyway, it just has to be executed differently because I promise you, if you listen to the kids and if you listen to the youth, They 15 ain't your 15. They 13 ain't your 13. They 9, it ain't our 9. So that's all I wanted to say.
I do want to be mindful of the time. I don't know if Pastor want to give us the okay to keep going, because we having a good little discussion up here. Okay, he said to keep going. We gonna do that. Were there any other questions as far as that?
I didn't have something I want to add. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's important that you find the church is right for you and where you are in life. When you, like we have children, we talked about children, it's not just us we're thinking about. So I think it's important that you learn about the church that you want to attend and figure out what is best for you and your family. Just like with a school, I knew what my son needed and I looked for something that would cater to his needs. So I think ministries are different. Some ministries cater more to youth or families, so you have to do the work. You know, God not just gonna crack the sky and do everything for us. We gotta put some work into what it is that we want and figure out what works for our family. And also hold yourself accountable. Don't just be a bench member. Know what's required of you. Don't go into anything blind, and make sure you consult God. God not gonna lead you wrong. He's not gonna lead you wrong. Now, if you go there because you say that's your church and you didn't consult God, well, you got to deal with whatever because you went on your own. But I would encourage you to consult God with whatever choice you make about joining the church or ministry.
Pastor had asked a question about when young adults stray, and then we go out into the world, and then we sort of like playing Russian roulette, and we truly are, because I almost didn't make it back personally. That's just personally. I didn't, because I knew, because my grandma kept me in church when I was little, whether I went to sleep or whatever. I used to go to sleep every week, but I was there. And then when you get out in the world, you are playing Russian roulette because it's so much happening out in the world. It's nothing like when you could just be free and just open. No, it is Russian roulette, and you don't make it back because you get depressed. A lot of our young adults get sad by stuff that has happened, stuff that has been said to us. We get depressed. I know a young lady just went to gun range, shooting, and just shot herself in the head on camera, killed herself. My friend's daughter, just 22. She said she was sad. It was too much. Life at 22. You know, so you just never, and you playing Russian roulette, you never know if you're going to make it back. Like I said, our kids are out in the world. Hopefully we pray and the good Lord give them, cover them, their blood, and they come back instead of being pushed in. And I meant that because it's scary out there in the world. We having fun and we living our best life, as everybody say, out there in the street in the world, and the world is tossing us, the devil's tossing us back and forth. And we don't see it because we having fun. We the life of the party. You know what I'm saying? We the one that, the social life, we the one that bringing all the drinks, we the party. I give a party, I have 1,000 people at my house. You know what I'm saying? People can't even come in. Am I lying? I have a party, I got a house full of people. You invite people to church, they're not gonna come. And then the young people are playing Russian roulette. They dropping like flies out here, and they don't even see it because they're too blinded. The devil got them. They think they're having the time of their life and don't even know he's setting them up for a downfall. You know what I'm saying? And some of them not gonna make it back. Is it Russian roulette we playing with once we want? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We can step. Our kids, sad to say, they be in it so deep they don't see, because they the party, they the stunner, they selling all the drugs, they drinking, they partying, they buying the bar out. You know what I'm saying? And that's the life we living in, because guess what? Social media and so many things is telling them it's the right thing to do. So they gonna go out and buy the bar out. They gonna hustle just because it's fast money and it feel good to them. So they're not thinking like, I'm gonna get, or they say in their head, I'm gonna get this money, then I'm gonna get out the game. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
The game don't love, the streets don't love nobody. Trust me, I know. Been there, done it. I'm so glad I'm sitting here today. When I say I thank my mama for real, I really do. You know what I'm saying? I done been shot. I done been this. I done been that. I done been shot. I'm just standing in my trunk out in the world. They start shooting. Guess who had to jump in their trunk? Let me get my silly self to church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yes, Pastor, it is Russian roulette. We playing games out here. We playing games. The devil is for real.
Yeah.
We playing games.
Yeah.
We think it's all cute until it ain't cute no more. We think it's fun until it's not no more. So we out here in these streets playing, and he for real. He
Yep,
for real.
he
He
is.
gonna take us out.
He
While you
trying
out
to.
there in your mess and you don't realize it because we're young. We drunk and having fun, so we don't realize. You know?
Can I ask you a question? When you said, it was lit, I just feel like the church is lit. Like, people should want to come where we are. We are connected to the creator of the universe.
They can't see it.
But
They
right,
blind.
but
Well, well, it's because God is supposed to shine through me. So it's something, like you said, God is perfect. We are doing something wrong.
That
Because we are supposed, when Amber, the last time I was here, Amber stood here and said, it's about to be lit. And I said, call me, because I want to come. Because that's what's going to draw people, not religion. People want to have a good time, but also feel good about doing it. I don't feel any remorse, any guilt. I had a good time. It was positive. It was edifying. Nobody was talking about anybody. It was a great time. I want to be a part of that. And if we can realistically show that to the world, it won't be enough seats in here. Because that's what they looking for. They paying for a good time and people to call their friends. But if we really show ourselves sisterly and brotherly, and we having a good time, and we ain't broke, busted, disgusted, and sick, people will come to where we, because like you said, your friends want to know, well, what are you doing? You're blessed.
A lot of people see it, but a lot of people don't believe it. Because a lot of people, a lot of people that see me now won't believe I'm the same Niecy that used to be. They don't know I'm Evangelist Reese now, but they always see Niecy, so they can't get past that part, and that's fine. But I tell my story to anybody that want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we get to a point where people be like, oh, I'm Evangelist Reese, so I got to be perfect. No, I'm this. Or they forget. You forget that you was out there in the world doing God knows what and everything with who knows who. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people tend to forget, and a lot of young ladies will look and be like, well, she this, she that. No, I'm not. All you got to do is talk to me. I talk to anybody. I tell anybody anything you want to know. Because guess what? I've been there, done that, said it, did it, and some more. You understand? So I don't have, and a lot of times people like my age, or we forget.
Yeah.
You came from somewhere. I didn't see that. Even though my grandma brought me to church, I didn't see church. I was just going because I had to go. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know that. So when I came to church and see the young ladies and they embrace me and whatever, no judgment's on. You feel me? You come out the street, I'm coming and I'm doing this, and y'all don't, like, it's not that they don't care, but they don't care where I came from. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of young ladies scared to get judged, and a lot of them do, because it depends on where you're going. A lot of first ladies say they first ladies, but they really not. They don't carry themselves as young ladies. They carry the title because they want the new purse, they want the car, they just want to have the title, but they don't come from the heart. So a lot of young ladies get pushed away because she thinks she's better than everybody. You understand what I'm saying? So if you don't see it, they can't see past it, because some of the churches aren't right. And I get what you're saying, like they drove you away with their mess. And everybody ain't real. A lot of churches aren't real. They just buildings. And ain't no foundation, ain't no love, ain't no God, ain't no nothing. And yes, it is hard for a young lady to come off the street. She just got through, there's kids in here. She just got through doing whatever, making some money out on the street, and then she coming to church, and everybody judging her because she don't have the proper clothes.
Yeah.
She don't have the right. She might be still high off drugs, because guess what? You got to be high to be out there. You got to be drunk to be out there. You ain't just out in the world doing everything under the sun in a sober mind. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah,
So when she coming in high, she don't want nobody to tell her like, oh, she's still high. She smell like she drunk, or she smell like crack. Don't nobody want to hear that.
No.
Because guess what? You're going to make her more depressed.
And she already knows.
She already know. That's why she here.
know.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we forget where we come from. I said all that to say, yes, we forget where we come from. And yes, we playing Russian roulette out in that street. Don't be halfway into nothing, because your halfway going to get you took right on up out of here.
So I'm gonna say I enjoy Pastor Razor. Me and Pastor Razor, we go back and forth on Facebook a lot about a lot of different things. But I appreciate that though, right? Because I look at him like he has a wealth of knowledge, but he is not above himself.
Oh, no, yeah.
And so, even though I still haven't made it to his church, but the fact that he is able to have that conversation, that thought though is in the back of my head, like, all right, I'm gonna make it, right? But at the same time, when he asked a question about the Russian roulette, and like, to me, what I heard was, that tells me I'm more comfortable with playing Russian roulette with my life than sitting in this church. That's what the answer is. That is why people are choosing to do that. because,
How do we fix that?
Right.
right, and how we fix that.
I agree with that.
Right, is it honestly?
They are making that choice.
Right. Honestly, I will say it's exactly what you're doing. I haven't been to your church, so I can't tell you what your church itself is doing. But if you're the head and if you're doing this, I can only assume that your church will follow, right? Wherever the head goes, the neck follows. So to me, the way what you're doing and having these conversations and the fact that you are open-minded enough to understand that there is a disconnect, that I do need to fix this, I do want to know, right? Just being open is where you start. Like I said, like I haven't found my church yet, but even having this conversation makes me want to come here and let me see if this could be it. I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it still makes me feel comfortable enough to be like, all right, well, let me go check this out and let me see if this is it, right? Maybe this is how this happened, because I haven't seen Pastor Razor in I don't know how many years. But we have these conversations, and maybe this is God's way of like, all right, here you go, right? Because he hit me last minute, like, hey, you want to? I'm like, all right, cool. First time I've been in a church in, I'll say probably 3 years, if not more. First time I've been in a church. And so it's literally just having open conversation, not being above where somebody else is, because you're no different than somebody else. Just because you may have been saved 2 years longer than me, still don't make you no better, and you ain't no closer than backsliding than I am. Right. And so just being, again, just having that open dialogue and having that open conversation and not being and telling everybody you can pray everything away. Yes, you can pray, but God also, he made doctors and therapists. Go see one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, sometimes that old school way of thinking you could just pray everything away. No, God said you can pray, but go see a doctor, right? While you're doing that, go see a therapist while you're doing that, right? And so just having open dialogue and sharing your path, sharing your journey, and being genuine and authentic and understanding when people walk through this door, you don't know what they just left and what they just went through to bring him there. And if you are committed to saying you want to get the youth back into the church, that's how you do it. Like you really do have to stop judging these young people and really meet them where they are. And that's not just, well, as soon as you see a new person, well, the doors of the church are open. No, go have a conversation first.
So if I could jump in, I think a lot of that just takes a lot of willingness to learn. Mm-hmm. And so people come to church, they want to learn, but at the same time, if we're going to meet them halfway, we have to do some learning of our own.
That's good.
We can talk about mental health, and the church can learn mental health, but I think the pastor, to some extent, has to know a lot of that stuff too, because if you're preaching that to us, you have to be knowledgeable of it. We can't meet somebody halfway if we don't know how to communicate with them, if we don't know the right things to say to them. You might say something to trigger them, not on purpose, but you just could because you don't know the right way to communicate with them.
And I mean, honestly, and I think it kind of goes back to what she said, like outreach programs. Like there are tons of Black professional therapists that would love to just come in and have a session. And you know what I mean? Just offer, you know what I mean? Just minimal, just 30-minute conversations and just expose us to things. Because there's so many things that's like the Black community, like we just like, I don't want to go talk to nobody, right? Like, no, it's okay, it will help, right? I mean, just like I said, like different just social programs and just open this up. Because like some people, it's like they're in church, but church ain't the only thing they need.
Right.
You know what I mean? They got so much scars that they need to deal with. That, you know, they might come today, but they ain't gonna be saved tomorrow. Right? So you got to figure out what's keeping them from coming back. Right? Like, okay, until we can get you into a therapy session, what can we do? What conversation? Let's talk, right? Because sometimes they just need somebody to talk to and listen and not tell them, well, you shouldn't have did that. Well, I wouldn't have done that. Don't do that, right? So I think, honestly, it's just open communication, some social programs, and just having a genuine conversation. Like I said, just figure out what it is they need. Everybody's need is not going to be the same.
Right.
It's not. And so you treat people like an individual and stop trying to cure everybody with the same blanket.
Yes, I agree. And I want to answer your question real quick, Pastor Razor. I think the squeaky wheels are the ones that get the attention. Most of the people who are broken and bad, those are the ones that we really cater to. But that wasn't my story. I just didn't want nobody to tell me what to do. And I wanted to be grown. So don't forget those people too, because they're out there and they're not broken. They know the right way to go and they just want to not do what they were taught to do. Yeah, they rebellion. Thank you. That was me. So don't forget those people is what I'm saying, because it's a myriad of people, of personalities out there that we have to reach. Everybody is not broken. Everybody wasn't molested or hurt. Some people just want to be rebellious. I don't want to do it. And don't forget those people too, because they look like me.
I mean, and so, but